Sogcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm Owen.
The Mariners are in the third wild card spot. They've dropped some ground. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but it's not the end of the world. Toronto's been playing really good baseball. Rays have been playing very well. The Mariners, it's like a little bit of a slip up, but they have enough cushion, especially the Orioles have been dropping. I think the Mariners are sitting pretty. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, look, in our last 10, the Rays have been 8-2, the Jays have been 8-2, the Mariners have been 7-3. We all have the same amount of wins. It's all just lost column stuff and win percentage that separates us. So we're really all at the same platform. Anything can happen. I really like what we talked about before, how the Mariners' schedule upcoming is a lot easier than those guys. Those guys are going to have to battle each other. The Orioles, the Yankees, the Rays, the Blue Jays are all going to play each other before the end of the season, and that's going to make a bigger difference than what we have in front of us, which is just hopefully we get hot during our easy part of our schedule leading into the end of the season. We need that a lot. So right now we have some players that are slumping. We have some players that are hot. Winker's obviously been slumping. It's been a problem. Haggerty's been in left field a lot more. It seems like Winker's not very dynamic. He doesn't have multiple positions. Haggerty's very dynamic. So Winker seems like he'd be better in a DH spot. Demo's been out, so Haggerty's kind of been our utility guy. He's been good in left field. He has crazy range, makes acrobatic plays. He's hitting, nearly 300 and since the 1st of July?
Yeah, his last 50 starts since, exactly.
Yeah, he's been awesome. And even though Demo's out, he's on the return. And we do have guys that are hot, too. Like Julio's hot, Cal's hot, Ty's hot. Suarez is hitting bombs. Even Santana has good at-bats and is always a threat, even though he's hitting under 200. You know, there's a lot of good things happening despite Mitch Haniger and Jesse Winker woes.
You know what I've been thinking, though? Like, it's kind of just the normal ebb and flow of a season, right? Like, you're gonna have hitters that are doing well, while other ones are in the gutter and back and forth and shit like that. That's just the normal ebb and flow of a season. With Mitch Haniger's recent struggles, like, it just happens throughout a season. Yeah, it's at an unfortunate time, but I think he's proven time and time again that he's that dude, and he's a productive major league hitter. So yeah, he's slumping. I don't think it's as extreme as like Ty France's recent slump. And Ty France has dug himself out of that, no problem. So I'm letting it slide with Haniger. I think Haniger it's a rough patch, but I think he's doing okay.
Yeah, really good point about the ebb and flow. I think when we started the season, Cal was like under 100 for like a couple weeks. He struck out a lot. I mean, when Julio first came in, he was striking out a lot too. Like, 2-3 times a game almost. And now he's killing it. He almost won the home run derby. Cal is leading the American League catchers with most home runs, I think.
Yeah, man.
He's obviously a defensive stud. I think almost like the heir apparent of Dan Wilson, I would say. So, ebb and flow. I think Winker will get back to it, definitely. I think at the plate in like a week or two. I don't really like him in left field. He looks like he's running with cement shoes out there. I like Haggerty at that spot.
Haggerty's absolutely looking way better in left field than Winker is right now, that's for sure. And at the plate as well.
I mean, Haggerty, he has so much range. He's so fast. And he made that Spider-Man catch. Or it wasn't an out.
They called it not a catch, but it was
sure looked
the
like
effort
a catch,
was there.
man.
Yeah.
Into the net, yeah.
It was beautiful. And today, he made another amazing grab in foul territory that there's no way Winker would get to that ball.
No.
There's no way. I mean, Haggerty is fast as hell. Like, he's blazing trails out there. Winker wouldn't have even jogged for it. It was so far out of a traditional left fielder's range.
Look at Jesse Winker's last year's stats with the Reds. Obviously a more hitter-friendly park. T-Mobile's not the friendliest place, and he plays half his games there. But he's still always a threat. I've seen him make a lot of adjustments throughout the year. I know he's not feeling quite right. He's trying to make the adjustments to be the best hitter he can be. We just have a lot of options right now, and until he's back in form, like, we're good, you know? And same with Mitch Haniger. We know his full potential. We saw Frazier do this early in the year, too. It took our whole team a while to get in the groove of things. And
Frazier and Raleigh.
It's great to have people hot while people are not.
It's true, but they both made a huge turnaround. It can always happen. It's a small slump. It's not even a big deal. Yep, exactly.
Raleigh went down to the minors and made that adjustment and came back with a super short, sweet swing, choking up on the bat, and started hitting bombs. It was amazing. I loved seeing Cal Raleigh make the adjustment and be a stud.
One thing we got to give Winker credit for is he's 1-0 in bench sprawls, and he beat the shit out of the Angels.
The entire Angels team, dude.
He really fired up the boys by knocking out whole rows of Angels. He took out a couple pitchers, especially Tapera, and he did get fired up after that for a while. He got a couple hot streaks going, but he is really streaky this year. I just really hope he gets hot before the end of the season, and he's hot when we need it, because we're coming down to the stretch, and we will need him in the playoffs. We need his bat to be right. We need him to be hitting at the top of his potential against right-handed pitching. I don't know what else to say about that guy. He needs to figure something out. He maybe needs a few days off, and that's okay. That's the normal way that baseball is. You need a few days off sometimes. You need to get right. Maybe you need to see the high-velocity machine. Maybe you need to see breaking balls. I don't know. There's something needs to happen there, and I'm sure he's working on it. He's a Major League Baseball player, and we know his full potential. I just hope he can achieve that in this next month before we get to the playoffs.
It just seems like all the players' woes, you can point out all the bad problems. That none of them are big issues. They're going to be fine in the playoffs.
I just want to say Cal Raleigh, though, in the last 10 games, he's hit 5 homers, 8 runs, 11 RBIs. He's striking out and walking at the same rate. He's 11.8 strikeouts, 11.8 walks. So he's hitting the ball. He's not striking out a lot. He's not walking a ton either. So he's really been working counts and getting his pitch and slamming them. He has a 224 WRC plus in the last 14 days, and that's in 10 games. And his slugging is 828. Just his slugging. He has over a 1.1 OPS in the last 14 days. He's slamming like that. He's been clutch. He's everything we could ask for in a catcher, and I keep singing his praises.
He's a threat every single time he steps to the plate.
All right. Also, in his last 14 games, Julio Rodriguez is hitting 292, on base 382, and a slugging of 521, a 165 WRC plus, which is also banging. He's been striking out at a 20% rate in the last couple of weeks, which is not as high as it has been. He's been up to around 27, 30% at times. His walk rate is 12.7%, which is a little bit more. I think he's trying to pick his pitch more, work counts more often. He's been great in center field. There's no fly zone out there. And he's been making sliding catches. He's covering all kinds of ground. And, I think it's lucky for Winker to have a center fielder like that out there, because he just will cover as much ground as he can, and Winker just gives way every time. Ty France in his last 14 games also is hitting 292 with a 320 on base and a 945 OPS and a 171 WRC plus. So he's made a huge turnaround and it's been a really big impact for our team, getting on base, moving runners around. I love having Ty France looking back to form.
It's so cool to have all these base runners and not be able to get them home.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mariners' issues with runners in scoring position is no joke. It's a damn pandemic. The Mariners leave so many runners on base. It's one of the worst in the league, and it's crazy that they've managed to win this many games with that many struggles with runners in scoring position.
You're right, though. We do have issues with runners in scoring position. It seems like the Mariners score a lot of their runs by popping homers. You know, a walk and a homer seems to be more of our solution than anything else. We're 6th in the league in home runs, but our batting average and our on-base percentage is pretty low. So in this last week, we've been facing tougher pitching. Lance Lynn actually threw a really nice game against us. We also had to face Michael Kopech over there, and he's he's lights out when he's on. His curveball's nuts. Kopech's been coming up, had Tommy John, and is finally back at like almost full health. And I mean, the White Sox were not an easy matchup. They're still pushing for the division in the Central, so they have a little chip on their shoulder. Now we're playing the Braves. Like, the Braves are one of the best teams in the National League, and they won the World Series last year. This is not an easy matchup. We have to face Chuck Moe, Charlie Morton. We have to face Max Fried. Luckily, we had nice matchups, too. Like, we're pitching decent pitchers, too. Kirby had a great game today.
Kirby against Max Fried is such a good matchup.
Awesome.
Dude, I had so much fun at the game tonight watching them. Like, watching them pitch tonight was so much fun, especially because Fried throws like a 74-mile-per-hour curveball. Like, he just floats that in there. He had Julio looking pretty silly on at least one swing. It wasn't even for like a strikeout or anything. But, oh, my God, it was like a 0-1 count or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I think it was the first pitch of an at-bat, maybe, or at least
Slow
right up there, yeah.
curveball.
But he hit him with this
Way
slow
over it.
curveball. And Julio the bat was already on his other shoulder by the time the pitch had crossed the plate. He was so far ahead of it. But it was really, really fun watching him pitch. He's a good pitcher.
Oh, yeah.
And the Mariners, they couldn't get a lot of stuff going. Again, they didn't have a ton of base runners. They scattered 6 hits throughout the game. Not a lot of like back-to-back, not a lot of like getting momentum going. Just a few scattered singles or a double here and there.
Yeah, he was definitely keeping us off balance that whole time.
Yeah, and the Mariners were struggling to get a lot going. However, when there was pitches left over the heart of the zone, the Mariners took full advantage, and that's what really set the tone tonight, is the Mariners launching on balls left over the plate to hit a couple big home runs, and they were no doubters, both of them. Haggerty and Suarez absolutely demolished those pitches over the zone.
I saw Suarez just miss one, too. Like you were saying, Max Fried has that slow curveball, and he's trying to get you way out in front. And Suarez put the barrel on it, but towards the end, and he was a little bit out in front. So he had a long fly ball to left, and he just didn't get enough power on it but he was on Max Fried all night. He was looking to put the ball on the barrel of the bat and send it, and he did. He's been so clutch. I love Eugenio Suarez. He brings such a good vibe to our team. He's a veteran.
Vibes.
Even
Good
if
vibes only.
Good
Yeah.
vibes only.
The dude that strikes out a lot, of course, is his mantra is good vibes only. I love his bicep flex too when he's running the bases and stuff. That's some of my favorite shit.
Max Fried has only given up 8 home runs on the season.
Damn.
And to give up 2 against the Mariners today, 1 Suarez and 1 Haggerty.
Nice. Hags with a homer. I love that. JP hit a homer last night. I was surprised.
Rare JP homer.
A rare JP homer. That dude hits like 5 a year. And
Robbie Ray, though. Robbie Ray gave up a few homers, too. So,
bad starts happen. He was a little rough around the edges near the beginning. He's kind of leveled out and been a very dominant pitcher. And then his most previous start was definitely rough. A lot of hard hit balls, a lot of deep home runs. He wasn't throwing his best stuff, and sometimes that happens with a pitcher. I think he's had plus stuff more often than he's not, though, throughout the season. So I don't think it's something to be too worried about. Just rough start, but it was a rough start when we needed him to be dominant.
yeah, and it happens against a team like the Braves who bang, man. Like, they run into one more often than other teams do. And Robbie Ray throws a lot of fastballs. He tries to be a power pitcher. He tries to overpower dudes who can handle that pitch. He's always going to have that mentality. That's always what he's going to pitch like. He's pitching almost every at-bat for the strikeout, not for poor contact. He doesn't really make the adjustment for poor contact. It seems like he's comfortable walking a guy, throwing all strikeout type pitches because he wants to throw his best pitch every time. He doesn't want to be that eat around the edges guy. So if he puts it in the zone and he gets punished, that's part of how he is. If he walks guys and gives up a homer, it hurts, but he's just trying to pitch for the strikeout. He'll walk a dude who's better at hitting just to strike out the next 2 dudes because he knows they can't touch what he's got. And he always has that mentality. When lineups get deep on him, he might get punished a little bit. And we saw that happen with the Braves.
Didn't the Braves also have a player like a couple of months ago get arrested for drunk driving?
Isn't that Ozuna?
Ozuna?
Yeah,
Dude,
they
isn't he
like
still
walked up on
playing?
him and he's like, "Hey, actually, I'm a Braves player." Like he handed him like his league card. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
he gave him his MLB like
Trying to play
employment
the
card.
card.
He was like, "Yeah, I'm a baseball player," and they were like, "That's tight. You're still drunk."
Boo.
Also, hey, don't mark him down just for the drunk driving. He's also a domestic abuser. Real
Yeah.
piece of shit guy.
Literally right in front of a cop, too. It's just, yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't know how he's still, like, playing and supported in any way, but I don't know, man. He's there.
It is weird that he is still like in the league didn't really issue anything about it. They didn't really mention it. They're just like, "Oh, it's fine. We're baseball. We don't give a shit."
Just makes me facepalm every time I hear his name, so whatever. I don't, fuck him. It's bad publicity to have him on their team and playing. I don't get it.
I will get shout out to Braves fans though. He is notoriously getting booed. He is getting booed like in Atlanta. His home team doesn't even want him there. So that's just like a management issue
Good.
of keeping him on the roster. It's not even like he's performing well.
Play Guillermo Heredia. Come on. Get rid
Yeah,
of
give
Marcell
Heredia play time.
Ozuna.
You know what? I was thinking with Heredia being a former Mariners left fielder, I was thinking the Mariners have never had like a dominant left fielder, like an everyday
Or even a staple left
yeah,
fielder, an
like
everyday player.
no everyday left fielder, like that's the dude. I remember the Mariners had Raul Ibanez for
Yeah.
a time, and he was fine.
He held it down out there.
He held it
played
down,
left
but-
field every day.
Yeah, but you wouldn't consider him like a staple. So
Mark McLemore.
Okay, your second baseman playing outfield fetish, Garrett.
yeah, Mark McLemore, Willie Bloomquist, I'm sure has
Yeah.
put some time in left field.
Oh,
None
yeah.
of these guys are staples, though.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like the Mariners have had so many legends at each position. You know, right field, you got Buhner, you got Ichiro. Center field, you got Julio and Ken Griffey Jr. and Mike Cameron. And first base, you got David Segui. Second base, I mean, there's people
Every position.
has a
Yeah.
stable except for left field. You're
Left
never
field.
like, oh my God, do you remember that Mariners left fielder?
Remember
That guy.
Milton Bradley, dude?
Milton Bradley. Where are all my Carl Everett fans at?
Denard
Casper
Span.
Wells, like
Yeah, dude. You're right. I can't think of one left fielder that's like the guy. Rob Ducey from the
Jake
90s.
Fraley.
Yeah. Let's go. It's just a rotating cast and crew for the whole eternity of Mariners baseball.
I would love to see Sam Haggerty be our staple left fielder.
Winker's kind of there, man.
I know he's there
it's-
now, but
Yeah, that's a bigger contract than Haggerty, and Haggerty can play kind of anywhere. He'll fill in where he
dude,
fills in.
every position Haggerty plays, he looks like he's coming for that guy's job.
Oh, yeah. He is.
He really is. He's killing it at every position he plays.
You know,
He's like,
a-
I'm so tired of being part time. I'm trying to get that 40 hours a week. I'm
Yep.
playing the hell
real.
out of this position.
This dude
Absolutely. That's
has
exactly
gotten-
how he plays every single position.
Sorry, but this dude, he's been released from a couple teams. He's been around the league. He's not like the youngest prospect guy. He was released by the Yankees. I think the Yankees picked him up off waivers and released him, and we picked him up off waivers. He's not like a prospect who's highly touted. He's just a dude who's finally figuring it out where he's at now, and he's really doing it.
I'm going to tout him highly.
Yeah, we do as Mariners fans. Absolutely, we're
I love
glad
the word
that-
tout.
Think about what Yankees fans think about releasing Sam Haggerty when they see him do what he's doing over here now. They're like,
Oh,
where the
suck it,
fuck was
nerds."
that guy? It's like,
Yeah.
well, you told him he sucked and to get the fuck out.
And now they suck.
Yeah. You get the fuck out, Yankees.
Maybe we'll see you in the playoffs. We'll show you.
We'll see you in the wild card round, Yankees. What's up?
Same with the Mets.
Hope so.
Mets are now in the wild card race because the Braves just overtook them.
Oh, they did.
New York really has a problem of things collapsing in September, huh?
Yo, we gotta leave that in.
What?
Come on, we can't, that is, it's been 20 years. It's fine.
That has to be locked God damn. What a hitter.
It's been 20 years.
Oh, my heart, dude. My heart.
So,
Fuck. God damn it, Patrick. All right, Garrett. What do you got, dude?
This is the worst thing that has ever happened in the month of September in New York history. Is the Yankees and the Mets collapsing at the same time.
Both of them.
But things standing solid in September. Mariners bullpen still getting it done week in, week out. One of the best bullpens in the league.
Los Bomberos putting out fires.
Oh my God.
Senor Smoke.
I got to see it
That's
in
a cool
person.
nickname. I love that shit.
I got to see their fireman entrance in person today. It is insane. It's so cool. They have the lights going in like a strobe fashion, and it's all sirens and flames, and it is so cool. Oh my
That's
God. I was
badass.
so hyped watching it.
It sounds awesome.
Honestly, go to a Mariners game and see that entrance. It is so cool. Anyone coming in from the bullpen, it is amazing. It was so fun to watch.
I went and saw them during a day game where like they just introduced the Bomberos name and stuff. So I was looking around. I was like, what's all this fire department? Oh, yeah, these are our firemen. I was down by the bullpen watching Munoz warm up, fucking flamethrower, throwing nasty sliders, and then we're all rooting when he came into the game and the Bomberos thing was happening. They put the siren on, but it was a day game, so I didn't get the full lights experience like you. It sounds fucking awesome, dude.
It was so cool. Oh my God.
With
I was
Munoz,
so hyped.
Swanson tonight. Let's go. Our boys, the strikeout pitchers.
Yeah, the Mariners have such a dominant bullpen, and that's really what's separating us from everyone else. Is so many. It's crazy that like the Mariners have the #1 ranked defense and the best bullpen. Like it's one of those things that you can take for granted because it's so nice to have it, and when you don't have it, you finally realize like how miserable it is to where no lead is safe. Like the Mariners have such a deep security blanket with every arm in their bullpen. How about Boyd coming back
hell
from
yeah.
injury? Matthew Boyd, hometown Boyd.
He's a hometown Boyd. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, good one.
Yeah, I love Matt Boyd being in a bullpen, our only lefty option right now. We had Festa falter a little bit the other day when we're pitching in those like tied or losing games. We put in the dudes on the fringe like Festa, who he can be nasty, but he's not as strikeout dominant as our other guys are.
I agree. I think he's the. I wouldn't even say the weak link, but I will say he's the weak link in Los Bomberos. But he's not even bad. He just had one bad day.
We need somebody to eat innings when we're tied or behind,
exactly.
and if he's that guy, you have to play your role, man. And he's not going to come in the high leverage situation, but we need him still. Like he's still very valuable, and he holds it down. I don't think that him giving up runs in a game where we were already tied or behind is the biggest deal. When I mean it kind of is because every game matters, but looking ahead, it's not the biggest thing. We just need him to be in form and keep doing what he does.
Yeah, it wasn't even that bad of a performance, and I agree, like saying he's not the weakest link, but of all the pieces, he's probably the one that's the least solid. And that's nothing against him. And he's still been great. And so having a shaky outing, it's no need to panic or be like, well, who do we replace him with or whatever. It wasn't a great performance. His stuff wasn't working that well. But we've seen it with like Diego Castillo. He's come in and hasn't been able to throw strikes and shit. And so many now, especially when you have so many like bandwagoner fans coming on and they think that everyone is supposed to be great 100% of the time. They don't understand that like a shaky outing like that is not the end of the world. Like, okay, his stuff wasn't working that day and it potentially cost us a win. Is it unfortunate? Yes. Are you like willing to freak out over it? No, like it's not that big of a deal.
That's why it's so special when dudes go on runs of scoreless streaks, because everybody gives up runs, man. Everyone doesn't have it when they come in. They'll walk their first 2 batters and give up a double and just be fucked all night, just trying to get through an inning and do their work and get out of there because, goddamn, that didn't go very well. But that doesn't happen to us very often. It happens to each of our guys occasionally. I've seen it happen to Munoz, Seawald, especially Castillo is a little bit more shaky. It's not unusual for someone to have a bad outing.
Got to give credit to Eric Swanson, though. He has been nothing but amazing in his last, I don't know how many starts, but I mean, maybe toward the beginning of the season it was a little rough, and toward the end of last season, maybe. But he's really dialed in right now. Like, he's just nothing but good things come from Eric Swanson.
Yeah, I agree. I think he has been locked in all season, to be honest. His season stats are insane. If you want to look up his season stats, we can drop a couple of those because it's honestly like top of the league shit. He's his splitter is insane. His swing and miss on his splitter is that's his strikeout pitch. I remember watching Swanson just make like spot starts a couple years ago, and I was like, who is this guy, man? Like, I don't know who this guy is, but I don't know. We have him. He's around. He made his way to the bullpen, has been dominant. His split finger especially, that's his specialty pitch, man. Like, good luck.
You know what I think is funny is that Paul Sewald throws like 92 right down the middle, and for some reason, hitters are not able to make contact with it.
I love me some Seawald. Love the emotion.
Yeah, Swanson has a 1.02 ERA.
That's insane, dude. How many innings has he pitched?
44.
That's insane. A 1.02? That's 1 per 9 innings.
Also, George Kirby today, with his no earned runs in 6 innings, dropped his ERA to under 3. As a rookie, has an ERA under 3? That's insane. That is so gnarly.
He didn't make his, like, the first starts of the season, but he filled in right where Brash left off, and he did not look back. He's only been making improvements. He looks better than ever. I love having Kirby out there as our 4 pitcher, You know, we can talk about Marco and Flexen and having a full right-handed pitching rotation going into the playoffs and what we're going to do for shorter series, like a 3 or 5 game series. I mean, adding Castillo gave us such depth. We have 6 starting pitchers, but 5 of them are right-handed. So Marco's really the conversation because we do need it is useful to have a lefty. And he hasn't been that bad. He's under 4 ERA. He's been the worst in our rotation, so it looks like he's been that bad. But look at the whole league. Like, he's still just middle of the league guy. He's not getting absolutely shit on.
Yeah, but we're not trying to be middle of the league anymore. We're making a playoff push, and as a what is he, third in our rotation?
I mean, no, he's lower in our rotation.
Is he good?
Marco, I'd say Marco
know.
is probably our 5th starter,
Yeah.
right? He's behind. Because it
I
goes
thought Kirby was our 5th.
I mean,
No, it goes Castillo, Ray,
Yep.
Logan, Kirby, Marco.
and they switch things around based on days off, who we're
Yes.
facing. If there's a left-handed heavy lineup, they're going to try to start Marco against a left-handed heavy lineup.
Sure.
Things like that. But he is our 4-5 starter. I just think, like, we won't need that until later in the playoffs, so we're going to have to go full right-handed. We might as well just commit to, like, putting Flexen back in a little bit and get him some stretched-out work before the playoffs happen, so he's ready to go 6-7 innings if he has to.
That would be awesome in a playoff scenario. Could you imagine, like, Marco getting bumped around a little early in a wild card game? He's a little shaky. He's not having it. They pull him. Flexen comes in from the bullpen and throws like seven innings of like 1-run ball in a wild card game. Imagine how hype that would be. That would,
Like, he closes the game,
yeah, or just like rides it out until like the 9th or the like
Goes deep.
and then you bring
Yeah.
in Munoz to shut shit down.
shut it down.
Yeah.
Him or Sewald.
Seawald with
Seawald,
his
yep.
funky arm angle, 93 down the middle, like you're saying. So
Dude,
foolish.
It's so weird. Like, you look on paper, Sewald should not be getting anybody out. His pitches do not have a lot of movement.
It's so deceptive. Look at his arm angle. His elbow's so low, and he's basically throwing risers at this dude. He's throwing like frisbee risers.
It's like he's out there throwing darts.
It's
just
awesome.
you look like not a ton of movement. It's not like he has a crazy curveball that he's gonna bury in the dirt. He has a slider that does okay, but has a four seam that is really straight, and he'll throw it 92 right in the heart of the plate. And any major league hitter should knock that 450 feet. But for some reason, there's something about him that just he's making hitters look foolish up there.
It's like what Matt's saying, his arm angle, man. It comes
Yeah.
at you and you're expecting some break and it's dead center and you're like, oh, fuck
And
me, I
rising
look like
above
an
your
idiot.
hands. So you see him foul it back a lot because they're trying to adjust to the high pitch. Just like Nathan over here throwing risers in wiffle ball. Like it feels like an elevator pitch where like you have to like adjust your hands just to get a piece to foul off and stay alive. It's very foolish the way he throws rising fastballs. It's really cool. His slider plays off of that so well. He's become a staple. I fucking love him at the end of our bullpen. But Munoz has been the real strikeout, high leverage guy. Swanson has come in and been the guy too. It's just scary with the split and passed balls possible. But otherwise, yeah, dude, our whole bullpen is awesome. Even our weak link is awesome. We're set for the bullpen. I can't wait to see them come up and fulfill their role here where we really need it. And they've been doing it all season. I can't wait to see them in the playoffs with a chip on their shoulder.
Also, it's been kind of a downish week for the Mariners. They have the potential to go for the series win tomorrow against the Braves, which would be huge. The defending world champion Braves. So that would be awesome to go for. But they've struggled a little bit the last week or two, dropped a couple series that they shouldn't have. So there's not a ton of information in that regard to talk about. What if we also discuss the big rule changes around baseball at going into next season, the banning of the shift, a pitch clock implemented, and wider bases?
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are all big rule changes for the MLB. We knew wider bases were coming. That's just like a safety issue. I'm really happy with wider bases. I don't think that it's going to change bang plays enough to be relevant. It's just the game adjusts to it. We have slow-mo. I want dudes to not be rolling ankles. I want them to have enough space to be on the bag and not run into each other. I want the bags to be bigger. I didn't think about it before it was proposed as a rule, but I have nothing against bags being bigger.
Give Ty France some room to not get stepped on or run into.
Yeah.
That guy that
Absolutely.
kicked him right in the back of his heel. That was such a Bush League play.
What a bitch.
That was
It'd be even more
garbage.
Bush League when the bases are 18 inches.
And also, like, I think another reason MLB wants stolen bases to be popping off again. Stolen bases are exciting. Like, steals are exciting. And due to analytics and catchers' pop times and stuff over the last, I don't know, I'd say 5 to 7 years, stolen bases have pretty much fallen off the face of the earth. Like, you don't really see teams going for it as much anymore. And with a bigger bag and a limit to pickoff throws, they're trying to make it so that the runners can get bigger leads and beat the catcher on a slide in a second or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that take about, like, they are trying to quicken the game and make stolen bases a bigger part of it. A fraction of an inch does make a difference wherever you are sliding into a bag. Pitchers are throwing faster than ever is my biggest point here. Is like, if the average pitcher's throwing faster than ever, to even that out, you can give that runner just a fraction of an inch or an inch advantage, just to kind of even out the playing field. I really like the game when the game's in motion. There's not a lot of running. Only certain teams run a lot. Only certain catchers throw out a lot of guys. And I like, in the 90s, there's a lot of catchers that really had a lot of pride in throwing out runners. 80s, 90s. I grew up in the 90s, 2000s,
Pudge.
People, yeah, dude. Ivan Rodriguez, even Mike Piazza. I don't know. Mike Piazza.
My
dude,
Piazza was
dudes
the
were
dude.
throwing out guys like as part of their like career. It's like blocking shots, you know? It's weird. It's a stat that's underlooked. And also, the game should be faster. I don't like the strikeout homer 3 true outcome
The 3
game.
true outcome. Yep.
So, I like dudes being fast as a strength. That changes the whole spectrum of like what happens in a game. It makes the game more dynamic and exciting. I like stolen bases. I loved watching Ricky Henderson steal bases when he was 40 years old on the Mariners just because he's Ricky fucking Henderson.
Also, the Mariners, speaking of like stolen bases not being as prevalent, the Mariners have really been the up-and-comers in stealing way more bases. They're constantly sending guys. You've got Julio, who's got over 20 steals already. Haggerty steals bases. Dylan Moore. JP has swiped a couple. Frazier has swiped a couple. And
Haniger's even taken a couple.
yeah, and it's really nice to see them running and stuff. It's really, really fun. And Julio being one of the second youngest rookie in MLB history to get a 2020 season. That was, 20 stolen bases, 20 bombs. That's exciting.
It is exciting. I guess a point to why it's going to make baseball a little weird, a little different looking forward. The whole pitch clock thing kind of includes that you can only pick off twice.
Yeah,
and on the third one, you have to get the out. How often do you see a pitcher pick off a guy at first? It doesn't seem very often.
Right.
And so you're putting a shitload of pressure on your catcher because you know that on that third pitch, you're going to have to quick pitch him. It's going to be a fastball. You're going to get it to the catcher. The hitter knows that. So they're going to let it happen and see, like, depending on who's on first, it's a whole new strategy. You know, it changes everything.
Yeah, there's going to be a game within the game happening. So, like, the batter has to be in the box with 8 seconds remaining and acknowledge the pitcher ready. And the pitcher can only step off twice in an at-bat or twice before the third time they have to record the out, like Garrett said. But, yeah, it's going to be a game within a game. Like, if they step off once, it changes things. If they step off a second time, it's going to change the way the defense moves even. They're going to be expecting something. The runner's going to be on edge more because they're probably not going to try to pick off because more than likely they're not going to get the out there. But the runner might be feeling more aggressive after those two things. So he might be trying to steal that base and he might get picked off more often. We'll see it be an exciting moment where the dude decides to pick a dude off on the third pitch, even though it's super risky, and the dude was going to steal, and he gets caught. You know what I mean? That's going to be an exciting moment, and the pitch clock's going to be a part of that because the timer's running down just like a shot clock in basketball. That 3 seconds left, and he decides to pick for the third time and gets the out because he was stealing. It's going to be like, it's going to be a moment. They're going to have to play it like it's a play, you know, like we're going to do it. Or, like, wait till the last second to decide what they're going to fucking do. And it's going to be tense.
We're going to see some changes in the defense based off of this one pitching rule.
I was going to say, I'm pretty critical on a lot of MLB rule changes, especially over the last couple years. The ghost runner on second in extra innings.
Ooh.
Making double headers 7 innings last season was just stuff that I really, really disagreed with.
COVID ball.
Yeah, exactly. Weird seasons.
It was weird, but this pitch clock, it's already been implemented in minor leagues all season, and the majority of people are okay with it. The players are cool with it. The fans are cool with it. It seems to be beneficial for everyone. And I agree that it could mess up some strategies or like some of the ways the game is played, especially like if you have a runner on first base and he's getting kind of a lead and the pitcher's throwing over, you're distracting that pitcher, and now he's going to struggle to throw strikes at the plate because he's focused on the runner. And if this pitch clock or whatever kind of changes the strategy on that, that will be unfortunate. But gathering from the data recorded in the minor leagues this year, it seems like it has not had that effect. It seems like play has been able to maintain the same amount of strategy, but it's just shortening the bullshit in between. And it seems to be very highly touted. And if they can bring that success that it's had in the minors into the majors, I'm all for it. I do support the pitch clock.
From what I've read, it seems like the pitch clock can shave, on an average in the minor leagues, 26 minutes off of a game, which is, it's something.
It's more watchable.
I guess so. What I'm asking is like, do we want shorter baseball? I love baseball the way it is.
Sometimes a game takes 4 hours. Do you want to shave 26 minutes on average off a 4-hour game?
26 minutes off of 4 hours is significant. It
yeah.
really is. It's more watchable that way. But sometimes
But
baseball
an average game
takes
is
4 hours. That's baseball.
Yeah. That's the
And
way
so it's going to be a weird change for a lot of people. Not saying I'm one of those people. I really don't give a shit. But a lot of people are going to be upset because it's not baseball anymore,
Yeah, I agree. I'm okay with the pitch clock happening. The game's going to evolve, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm all for the pitch clock. Also, I'm kind of for banning the shift. Like, it has got bastardized to such an extreme rate. The shift has been out of control. Now it is not out of the norm to have your third baseman standing behind second base,
Short
your
right field.
shortstop playing where second base is, and your second baseman in shallow right field. And the whole left side of the field is open. And I'm kind of on the fence where on one side I do believe, well, if they're giving you the whole left side of the field, just lay a damn bunt down and bunt it to third base. That kind of bothers me because it's like, okay, if the defense is giving you this much room, capitalize on it. You're choosing to ground out into the shift instead of laying one down. That bothers the hell out of me. However, in the way the game is changing, they don't want to see bunts. They want to see base hits. They want to see increased offense. So they're going to move the defenders away so more base hits can happen.
I'm split on that issue, man. It's a tough one because I love a bunt. I want to see the bunt come back. But this is like the bunt is already stabbed and dead and bleeding on the ground. It's not even alive anymore. It's still breathing technically. And now it's going to die.
Dude, some people Elvis Andrus bunted on us because we shifted on him they had a runner on first base, and Elvis Andrus laid down the bunt. No one was there. Or Suarez had to break in. I guess he was there, but it's not dead. Certain guys still bunt, and I think it's coming back. I think it's
not coming back with this new rule.
But I'm saying
I
hitters
think it
right
is.
now already don't utilize bunting.
Right,
They would
and it's gonna
rather
get
ground
worse.
out into the shift over and over and over again instead of laying one down. Robinson Cano had a beautiful bunt double because they shifted him, and he bunted it right down the third baseline, and he took two on it. More hitters should lay the bunt down, but since they're not,
It's going to be harder now.
I'm okay with the banning of the shift, though. I don't like seeing the fielders not in their fielded position.
I want to ban the shift as well. I'm for it. I'm tired of seeing a short right fielder and no third baseman, and the third baseman playing shortstop. And I would like there to be two players on each side of the field, regardless of where they want to position. They should be in their general vicinity. They should be on their side of the infield to start. When the pitch is thrown, they can move to wherever they feel like moving. You know what I mean? Like if it's when the pitch is thrown or when the ball is hit, determining when they can move across that threshold, you might see a shortstop and a third baseman bunched up in the middle. And if it's when the pitch is thrown, they can move across that threshold, you might see a shortstop or a third baseman running into short right field and trying to shift anyway, but it becomes like a defensive play where they have to start in a position and run a route. So it changes the way defense is played. And also, hitters should be able to hit the ball the other way. Is that not part of offense? Bunting is part of offense. Hitting the ball the other way is part of offense. If that's a lost art in our game, it needs to be rediscovered. And it will be. Look at what Ty France is doing.
Oh, that is an excellent point. Wow. Coming in fire with that. If it's a lost art in hitting, it should be rediscovered. Damn, that is fire.
Yep,
And but I
I
agree.
think that's a main argument for the people who dislike the banning of the shift.
Of hit the ball all ways.
Yeah, hit better.
Yeah. If you can't hit it that way, then fuck you. We're gonna shift you
Yeah,
the hell
people
out
say
of you,
you're a
and you'll get out
professional
all the
baseball
time.
player. You should be able to hit both
So
ways.
I get the argument of like you should be able to hit the ball the other
Sure.
way. We're
But
giving you
also-
half the field.
What about defense? You're a professional baseball player. A third baseman should be able to get to any ball hit toward the left side of the field. That's a professional baseball player too.
Yep.
Play that shit. So, I mean, I see both sides. It's a tough one. We're just going to see baseball change.
Strategies
I'm not
change.
hard and fast on either side. Just think,
I-
we're going to see baseball played differently in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is going to completely change the game between that and the pitch clock and all that stuff. Also, I feel it's actually pretty rare going into the COVID season. Before that, it was very rare that baseball made rule changes. They pretty much always stuck with the same rules, and it's not like the NFL where they're just constantly changing the rules every single year, and the definition of a catch changes, and what does a football move mean.
Yeah.
In baseball, they're pretty hard and fast with their rules,
Yeah.
and they have been. There was a time about 5-6 years ago, they tried to change the transfer rule, where if you caught the ball and then we're switching it to your throwing hand, if you drop that, that's always been an out because you caught the ball and then while trying to throw it, you dropped it. About 5-6 years ago, they implemented the transfer rule where if you drop the ball at any time, it was safe instead of an out. And that lasted not even half of a season. It didn't even make it to the All-Star break when they were just like, oh my God, it's throwing a wrench in the game. We don't know how to call it properly. It led to a whole bunch of issues, and they axed that rule.
Yeah.
But I feel like these upcoming rules are here to stay. It's not something that they're just throwing out there. This is something that they're fully planning on updating to the game of baseball.
The rules that are being implemented now are all going to be based off of two things, and that's safety of players. The slide rule. Pedroia got his knee destroyed and career ended, and that really changed things. You can't run into catcher. Like the whole catcher
Oh,
rule.
Buster Posey, too. Buster Posey started the collision at the plate rule.
It's all confusing, and like there's been a lot of plays this year, actually, where dudes have been called out at the plate or called safe at the plate when a catcher tries to block their path while receiving the ball. It's a really weird judgment call thing, and even if it goes to New York, it's a really hard thing to call if the catcher has the ball coming, and when can they be in the path of the runner, right? It's like, do they have to have the ball, or do they have to be like in the action of receiving the ball? And it's all very subjective, and it's hard to overturn that call, but it's been happening more often this year. So that is a rule change that's happened, but it's based off of player safety, right? And it does end up kind of being a hard thing to call. And that's the biggest problem right now for me with rules. Otherwise, it's all rules and technology. Like how long is it before RoboUmp takes over? We know how bad umpires can be.
Honestly, probably another year.
You
I
think
would
1
say.
year?
I
a
think 1
year
year.
as well.
I think
Yep.
3 years. Like
Within 3 years.
within
Either
3
way,
years.
it's happening, and it's happening soon. It is
Yeah.
happening, right? Like,
The problem is the umpires union.
that's very true.
It's a
They have.
strong union.
They'll
boy.
still be there, but they also don't want to give up part of their job because they're very prideful people.
That's why they let Angel Hernandez still have a job.
Fucking Angel.
Thing is, though, I think the umps will still have a job.
Yeah, they'll be there.
Yeah, but it's like their job just to say it, or actually what they've
You get a
implemented.
challenge, right? So the ump can call like you can see it on replay, slow mo. You'll be like, "Oh, that ump fucked up a call." It's not always gonna get turned over. You still have your challenge, right?
It's like
Similar to
different-
football, right?
Kind of, but the way they've implemented it in the minor leagues, like the manager, the pitcher, the catcher, or the hitter can like challenge at any time. Like anytime a pitch crosses the plate, and if they disagree with the call, they have to challenge it like instantly, and then it immediately pulls up on the pitch tracker.
I kind of like this hybrid because if Angel is fucking up back there and you know he's missing calls, you can challenge him and be like, yeah, bro, like steal us outside, like come on.
Yeah, and it's really quick because that's one of the other things they're worried about, pace of play and stuff. And even just in the minor leagues with far less sophisticated equipment, it's still very instantaneous on them challenging it reading through the pitch tracker, and then the umpire then overturning the striker ball call. And minor league game times are still lower than ever. So with the implement of the pitch clock. So I like the changes this is doing for the game. It seems to be working. It's players, fans, everyone seems to be fired up about it. So I'm kind of curious how it's going to look at the major league level, but I'm happy to see how it plays out.
They all seem to be like constraints on what players can do, right? Pitchers have to perform within a certain time. Hitters have to be in the box within a certain time. Pitchers can only step off a certain amount of times or pick off a certain amount of times. There's this, and that you can't shift. So it's all stuff you can't do. Because the game strategy has evolved, rules need to change to mitigate the strategies that are making the game unnatural, you know?
The Rays are going to look different next year, that's for sure.
Yeah. The Rays have been
big
the
shifters,
most
right?
Creative
They're
team,
the
I think.
four outfielders.
They were one of the first teams to like put 4 on the infield or like, you know.
Well, that's because Joe Madden
or 5 infielders, whatever.
Madden was their manager at the time when they started doing.
Right.
And he did the same thing with the A's because Madden he's a character in himself. He's an odd manager. He got fired this year by the Angels after they went on, that 14-game losing streak. And
I heard he had a mohawk the day he got fired, bro.
Yeah.
So sad to help fire up the boys.
He cut his hair into a mohawk to amp his team up. He thought it would be like a morale booster. And he was just leaving the barbershop, getting a cut up. And they were like, oh, by the way, you're fired.
Could that be
players
more
didn't even get to see it?
You go home and look at your mohawk. Like, no.
This was for the boys.
Do you still go to the clubhouse and say, boys, this was for you, by the way? Like, this was for you.
That's rough.
I'm out. Sorry. That's a rough day. So one of the more recent rule changes was the expansion of the wild card. The Mariners are in the 3rd wild card spot, which was non-existent last year. There was 1 wild card spot. So now we're in this race with 3 teams to jockey for position in the wild card, and who we face in the wild card really matters. So the wild card picture right now, I mean, we're all locked up. We just have different losses, right? Like the Tampa Bay Rays, they have like 58. The Jays have 59. We have 6, I don't know, something like that. We're all separated by 1 loss. We all have the same amount of wins. The Orioles have kind of fallen off the race. There's no one really pushing up from the bottom anymore. So it's just these 3 teams. I think this is going to be the way it is. We're all just jockeying for position to see if the Rays can overtake the Yanks and how everything shakes out by the end. Like we've talked about our schedule already, how we have an easy schedule. They have a tougher one. And we can hope for the best here and know that we are in a solid spot, a platform where we are in the playoffs. I think we're in the playoffs. I'd put it at 100% right now.
No way, dude. To be determined.
My percentage is 100%, dude. I don't care about Fangraphs percentage or Vegas.
I won't believe that the Mariners clinch the playoffs till after they clinch the playoffs and like 4 days after that. Like, the game that they clinch, it's going to take me easily another week to believe it.
I'll pinch you every day.
Yeah, to be like, nah, there's still a chance that they'll drop it. There's been times over the years where they've missed out on their playoff chances on the last game of the season. Like, if the A's would have lost in 2018, the Mariners would have been in the playoffs. Like,
yeah,
they've had their chances before. So I'm just like, I know it's going to happen. But I have to see it to believe it and to process it. I'm so scared of getting my hopes up.
So upcoming, we have the rubber match of the Braves game tomorrow. This episode won't be out yet, but we'll see how that shakes out. We'll have the San Diego Padres series on Tuesday and Wednesday, just 2 games. And then we have the Angels for 4. We're at the Angels for 4, and we're at Oakland for 3. And then we're at KC for 3. So it'll be a nice little cool down from this hot stretch we've had facing teams that are actually in a race and teams that are actually good. We'll hopefully see less pitching that is dominant. Well, our dudes can rest. Dudes that are slacking right now can get hot. Dudes that are hot right now can chill, hold it down. Everything should come together by the end of this next couple weeks here. We should be in full form for the playoffs.
I just hope the Padres suck, dude. They have been underperforming with like Juan Soto and Manny Machado, and like all their best dudes have looked not super good. Maybe they'll come back next year killing it, but right
I
now
hate the Padres.
I like the Padres, bro. I just think that they're not good, and I want the Mariners to sweep the Padres in that 2-game series.
Me too. You know who has been good, though, in the National League for his OG team? The old guy, Albert Pujols, hit his 696th home run and tied Alex Rodriguez.
He's
Good.
going for 700. That's
One more.
One more,
One
dude.
more. That's all I want. Just beat Alex.
I want him to hit 700 so bad.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I didn't think he had the chance to beat Alex, but now I am rooting to get 700, but just to like beat Alex first, right? But now I am rooting for that 700. There's a whole month left, and he's actually raking against lefties.
He's the machine, right? Like, the dude is an absolute beast. He's been in the game for so long. He's one of the
45 years.
most dominant hitters in Major League history. Like, his time at the Angels was like such a downward spiral. Like, he never got it going for the whole time he was on the Angels. And as soon as he went back to the Cardinals, it's like he's on his old shit. Like, he is just mashing bombs, coming up with clutch hits. Obviously, he's not the everyday high average guy that he was back then, but he's still getting it done.
Waino, Yachty, and Albert doing it in St. Louis again 20 years later. What legends, dude. I'm so glad Albert's back there. It feels
like
great.
Cardinals in a time capsule.
He's getting 700. Market 8, dude.
And Albert Pujols tearing it up on his team that he started up with. You know, imagine being a fan of that franchise and getting to see one of your old-time heroes come back and dominate for you on a farewell tour.
Imagine bringing your kid to the game, being like, when I was a kid, my dad brought me to see Albert Pujols, and now I have a kid. I'm bringing him to see Albert Pujols. This is a legendary generational player who's back in his home.
It's so nice, and like it's got to be so nice for the fans of that team, which kind of makes me think of a CS guys. What is all of our favorite National League teams? Like if you had one that you had to root for, or that you do root for,
Yeah.
who do you got it popping in the National League?
The National League, yeah, we kind of stick to our American League. I've always been an American League guy, but I do like the National League as well. I've always been a huge fan of the Mariners' sister team, the San Diego Padres, just because they're our sister team. We share a spring training facility with them, and that just seems like a good vibes place, San Diego. But they're not really my favorite national team. I'd say the Milwaukee Brewers are my National League team.
The Pilot Steelers?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
The OG Pilots, dude.
What?
We got the Mariners. It's okay.
Yeah, but still, that is all. The Brewers?
I like to brew beer.
Shout out Creaky Door Brewing.
Have a Creaky Door brew. This week's sponsored by Creaky Door Brewing. Brewed out of my garage. Have one.
Cheers. Prost.
That's our slogan. Have one.
Have one.
Cheers.
Because why aren't you drinking? I'd say for me, I got to go with the Cubbies. Always loved the lovable losers, I think, because they sucked for so long and the Mariners sucked for so long. It was nice to have that camaraderie.
That shared
And-
trauma.
And the ivy on the outfield wall. That's so cool. Their outfield wall is covered in plant. But no, I absolutely love the Cubbies. I like their colors. I like the logo. Like the team. Also, I hate pinstripes, but the Cubbies have some pinstripe logos that I'm like, okay.
Jerseys.
Yeah.
Do you think they're called the Cubs because like the Chicago Bears?
Yes.
The Cubs and Bears?
Cubs, Bears. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just
I
wondering.
think the connection is there. I don't know.
I
if
kind of
that's
made
the
that
history
connection
of it,
like a
but
couple
it
days
has to
ago.
You
be.
sounded pretty sure that
I'm
you're
pretty
like,
positive.
no, that's why they did.
No, I'm
That's
pretty
100%.
positive.
I thought about it, but didn't look it up. So I think that's what's going on there.
Don't fact check us on that one. We don't know.
We're not looking it up. We're gonna roll with it.
We're saying that's a fact. But no, give me the Cubbies. Give me their Ivy Wall and their least amount of night games played in baseball. The last team in baseball to implement lights. Love the Cubbies. That's my team.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to have to go with the Atlanta Braves. A big shock to nobody.
Total bandwagon. He never even mentioned the Braves until they won the World Series last year.
What's my favorite TV station is TBS.
Oh, he
I
doesn't-
love the Braves.
He hasn't traveled there or anything.
I have gone
Patrick.
there.
I
But yeah,
know,
that TNT, when they would just play Braves games like in like the middle 2000s. So I would just get home and then just watch the Braves play. Because
Yeah.
for them, they had started at like 7, so like 4 o'clock our time. Just
Yeah.
watch the game until the Mariners popped on. So I just ended up watching like hundreds of Braves games. growing
Channel
up.
55, bro.
Mhm.
TBS.
Channel 55.
And you got family in Hotlanta.
I do have family, and so we do visit them almost yearly, probably. And I do go to a lot of Braves games, and their stadium is fucking sick.
Hell yeah.
I basically have nothing. I'm such an AL guy.
I figured your team. I honestly thought you'd go for the Mets. You talk
Honestly,
highly about the Mets. Like,
I think the Mets are special. I think the Mets have a storied history. They are clearly the worst franchise in the National League, specifically from that time that they gave a tribute to all those dudes who had died. And there was one guy on that list who was still living.
he was
And
at the stadium. He was there, and he was like, "Yo, guys,
I didn't die.
No, I'm right
here.
That's not great.
So I like the Mets because it was such a joke for the longest time, but now they're good. So that's cool. That's a good turnaround. I'm inclined to say Brewers right there with Matt. Man, I don't have one. I want to be more of a Phillies fan. I will say that.
They're
And
fucking
I'm-
trash, bro.
I'm not. I don't know anything about the Phillies,
Dude,
but I feel like if I
Philly
had to,
fans are so brutal."
if I read a list of National League teams and just picked one, I'd be like, well, maybe I'll be a Phillies fan this year. And no, dude, I got nothing. I can't dedicate a slot to a certain team.
All right, we'll work on that,
You
Garrett.
made me
Yeah.
pick a pitcher to hit.
Yeah, pick a damn team.
Oh,
This is a
okay.
hypothetical
Oh, you're
for
right.
you.
I'm a huge Dodgers fan. Yeah, good call.
There you go. There you go. What a pick. A legendary team.
Wow.
The best in
What
the
a
MLB.
storied history for that franchise.
Garrett with the best pick.
All right, you heard it here first. I'm a huge Rockies fan.
Hey, not bad.
They
They're
have a dope
bad right
stadium.
now, so
Hey, but don't get me wrong. I love the Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks have the coolest jerseys in the league.
the Snakes.
I don't even care. A lot of people shit on Diamondbacks jerseys because they say they're kind of like out there or outlandish or whatever. I love it. I like the different styles they have. One of my favorite jerseys of all times is an Adam Jones.
Straight up, don't give a shit about the Diamondbacks. I'm picking the Nationals just because.
The Nationals literally have the Walgreens logo though. It is
I
the
know.
exact same W. And
You're right, though.
How
Maybe-
has no one sued the other one for copyright infringement?
Maybe I'll go with the Mets. I want to be a bigger Phillies fan. You know what? I'm going Pirates. You know what? Here it is.
Stamp it.
I'm now a Pirates fan, and I'm going to keep up on it. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for this week.
Go
Go to a
support,
Mariners game. Go see the boys.
support the Mariners. Go see a game when they're at home. They're going to be on a 3-series road trip, going to California, going to KC, until they're back at home against the Rangers. And we are out of here. This is the Mariners Sogcast. Please like this subscribe. Tell your friends. We really appreciate any time we can get new listeners in here. If you appreciate what you're hearing, help us out. It makes a big difference. Until next week.
Go!